Committee for nominations. I believe you have a packet in front of you of peer reports on the individuals before you, and we're going to move down to Senate nomination number 16 first. I'll let you flip to that peer report real quick, and I'll give you a minute or two to scan through it. And on Mr. Keith Allen Williams Jr. from Gulfport, who's going to join us via Zoom. And Carlos, is it set up? Okay. Mr. Williams, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, good. All right. We're going to take just a minute to review the peer report, and I'll be with you in just 1 minute.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Williams, if you would please introduce yourself to the committee and give us kind of a background on yourself.
Keith Allen Williams Jr. Reside in Gulfport, Mississippi, born and raised here. I've worked at Community Bank of Mississippi for the past 7.5 years, I guess now, in a lending officer role. I hold the title of vice president, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. You are being nominated to serve on the Mississippi Business Finance Corporation as a member associated with small business. Looking through the peer report, they did not find any derogatory information. What one thing you are I guess you're being appointed as a member representing small business, and you work in banking. Kind of let us know what your background is working with small business through the bank, and kind of just your experience with small businesses.
Yeah. So what I basically have is, I work with community, businesses of, kind of various sizes. We do have an SBA, portion of Community Bank that allows us to help even, those, I guess, lesser able businesses to do it. So I currently have about a $22 million portfolio, which varies in sizes of businesses that are from 2 employees or 1 employee to a couple hundred employees. So financial analysis, investigation into the operations and stuff, getting to know them, and just kind of seeing their day-to-day operations, then evaluating the cash flow, their capacity, and what their future is trying to do and stuff, and that all put together and stuff. We if it's under my authority and stuff, then we make those I make those decisions based on those criterias, and if not, then we go to a loan committee that I present those to, and they go about approving those. So it's actually become something that's really enjoyable for me. Of course, when I graduated from William Carey, came back to the coast, I got into surety bonding, thought that I had an opportunity to do that, and then got my credit analyst experience with that through Hancock Whitney, Hancock at the time, and then went to investment banking for a short period, and then found out that it's a lot easier to give money out than it is to try and get people to save it. So being able to help the businesses around, I guess you can even say throughout Mississippi to help them grow and stuff is really that's what kind of gives me pride, is not so much my role, or I guess my title in the bank, and hope to move up, but help those businesses grow around us and be able to say, I help them afford the success that they have.
Okay. Thank you very much. Are there any committee members that have any questions of Mr. Williams? Any questions? Okay. Like I said earlier, looking through the peer report, there's no derogatory information in your background. We do ask all people that are appointed, is there anything in your background that wasn't discussed that if it came out would embarrass the governor or the Senate if they were to confirm your appointment?
No, I don't believe so.
All right. Thank you, sir. Any further questions of the committee? All right. Seeing none, for a motion. Motion is we do advise the consent. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Williams. You'll go before the full Senate soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. All right. We will now go to Senate nomination number 3. Ms. Olivia Host, Ridgeland, Mississippi, for the Mississippi Business Finance Corporation, term effective immediately ending March 3rd, 2027. Ms. Host here. Hey, if you would come up to the stand over here. Let me.
Okay, thanks.
Y'all have the packet in front of you. I'll give everybody a minute to flip through it real quick and we will get to you, Ms. Host. Just one second. All right, Ms. Host, thank you for being here today. If you would please introduce yourself to the committee and just kind of give us a little bit of your background.
Olivia Host. I'm from Ridgeland, Mississippi. I am a tax accountant or CPA specializing in tax accounting. Been doing it for 40 years. Had mandatory retirement in May of this past year, but I'm back now at it again because it's tax season. You know, been doing it, been in the financial world my whole life. So that's.
It is tax season. You're preaching to the choir in this committee about taxes. Well, thank you for being willing to serve. We've looked through your peer report. There are no derogatory information in your background search. Would you kind of just speak to your, the same Mr. Williams, just kind of speak to your background as to working in banking and small business, just what your kind of just your perspective and the years of experience you have, what you bring to the table?
My specialty in the area that in tax was small businesses, small family businesses, and it was called private client services. And so that's all I dealt with were your smaller entities, helping them navigate, helping them transition, succession planning and the whole works. So.
Wonderful. Well, are there any questions for Ms. Host from the committee? Seeing none, I'll ask the same question I'm going to ask of everybody. Is there anything in your background that wasn't disclosed or discussed that if it came out would embarrass I believe you were nominated by Lieutenant Governor Hosemann or the Senate if we were to confirm your nomination? Good answer. Thank you. All right. If there are no other questions for a motion. Oh, Senator Horn, would you like to speak?
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Ms. Host, I see that you are claiming as your life partner one Jerry Host.
Yeah.
God bless you. Tell him I said that. I move we do advise and consent, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Horn. The motion is we do advise and consent. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Ms. Host, for being here today. Next, we will go to Senate nomination number 12, Antoine Anderson from Canton, Mississippi, Mississippi Business Finance Corporation, member associated with banking, small business, unexpired 6-year term effective September 23rd, 21 and ending March 31st, 2026. Mr. Anderson, thank you for being here. If you would give us 1 minute to flip through the peer report real quick and we'll get started. All right. Mr. Anderson, thank you for being here today. If you would, please introduce yourself and give us kind of a little bit of your background.
Okay, thank you for having me. My name is Antoine Anderson. Again, I'm from Canton, Mississippi. I've been in banking for 22 years. I've been with the same company for that duration. And I enjoy what I do.
All right. Are there any questions from the committee for Mr. Anderson? Seeing none, going through the peer report, you do meet the statutory qualifications and there's no derogatory information in your background peer report. I'll ask you the same question. Is there anything that is not listed or if it were to come out would embarrass the Lieutenant Governor or the Senate if we were to confirm your nomination?
No, sir.
All right, great. Seeing Senator.
I get it on the
There
minute.
you
Thank you,
go.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
I see you've been in banking for 22 years, sir.
Yes, sir.
Long time. Same bank? Bank
Yes, sir.
Plus?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that sounds real good and I'm a retired banker, so
Okay.
that's a good tenure.
Congratulations.
You headed, I had
I'll
30
get there
years of
one day.
experience, so you 22, you headed that in that direction.
Yes, sir.
So I'd like to make a motion at the appropriate time.
Yes, sir. Any other questions from the committee? Senator Horn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this is just an inquiry of the chair. I'm looking on the peer background investigation report, page 1, the position. We mentioned the name of Mr. Jabari Edwards. Is he replacing Mr. Edwards on the board or why is it styled like this?
I'm not sure. Council.
It says, Mississippi NBFC as a member associated with banking or small business, Vice Jabari Edwards, appointed by Governor Tate Reeves for the unexpired balance of 6-year term ending March 31st, 2026. So I'm assuming
Is it
that he's
replacing Jabari?
replacing
Yes.
Mr. Edwards.
Okay.
But so I'm just wondering if the position language is styled properly.
We'll check on that and I'll verify it before we bring it up on the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. For a motion, Senator Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to move that we would advise and consent on Mr. Anderson.
All right. You heard the motion. All those in favor on the advice and consent of Mr. Anderson, say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. We'll take you up on the floor soon. Yeah. All right. Next is Senate nomination number 15, Colby Jordan, from Madison, Mississippi, for Mississippi Business Finance Corporation as a member associated with small business for unexpired 6-year term effective September 21, ending March 2006. Thank you for being here, Ms. Jordan. If you
Thank
would,
for
let
having
us
me.
flip through real quick and we'll get right with you. All right, Ms. Jordan, thank you for being here. If you would, please introduce yourself to the committee and give us kind of a little bit about your background.
Sure. My name is Colby Jordan. I am from Madison, Mississippi, graduated from Mississippi State University, where I stayed to start a master's in public policy and administration before going to Washington, D.C. to serve as the communications director for Congressman Greg Harper. I stayed with Congressman Harper until his last day in office and then made the transition to the White House Office of Management and Budget, but where I helped author the president's two of the president's fiscal year budgets on behalf of the President of the United States, working on all of the different committees under the Executive Associate Director to work on all of the projects and finance those within the budget. After that, I went to work for Delta Airlines, serving in crisis communications during the COVID pandemic before I came here to Mississippi to serve under Mississippi Attorney General's office, and just made the transition to small business at the CELO agency, where I serve as the Director of Public Relations.
Okay. Well, are there any questions from the committee? Senator Parker.
Colby, you may remember me because I
I
think my
do.
daughter was with you interning while you were at Congressman Harper's
Yes, sir.
office. So we ran into her at lunch today. So I enjoyed meeting you in DC. I appreciated your work when you were there. And it'll be my honor to make a motion at the proper time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Any other questions? All right, well, your nomination meets all statutory requirements and qualifications, and there's no derogatory information in your background. I'll ask you the same thing. Is there anything in your background that's not listed, if it were to come out, would embarrass the governor or the Senate for confirming your nomination?
No, sir.
All right, good deal. Senator Parker for a motion.
We do advise and consent.
All right, the motion is we do advise the consent. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Colby.
Thank you.
Next is Senate nomination number 14. Mr. Bobby Milton James Jr. of Jackson, Mississippi for Mississippi Business Finance Corporation as a member involved in banking or small business, 6-year term beginning April 1st, 2021 and ending March 31st, 2027. Y'all can start. Mr. James here. Okay, we'll hold this one, and James obviously wasn't able to make it this one, so we'll maybe try to reschedule and do it at one of the other meetings. We're also going to skip Senate nomination number 82. Mr. Wiggins is currently having an MRI done, so we will try to reschedule that one as well. And then we'll go to Senate nomination number 117, Mr. Christopher Thomas Graham from Clinton, Mississippi, Commissioner, Mississippi Department of Revenue, a 6-year term effective July 1, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2028. Obviously, this is a very suspect character that needs close scrutiny and an examination. I'd ask y'all to dig deep and think about this before we proceed. Okay, all right. Obviously, this is a person that we all know pretty well. Commissioner had no derogatory information in his background. Apparently, they didn't dig very deep. But his appointment is in conformity with the requirements of the Mississippi Code. And I will speak to Mr. Graham about making sure he has a surety bond before we take up on the floor. But are there any questions or comments on this appointment? I see Senator Simmons back there in the back smiling. Would you like to say something, Senator Simmons? All right. Motion is we do advise and consent. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. I just found out that Mr. James' appointment is a reappointment, so we will go ahead and take a look at the, he's already appeared before the committee once, and he does need to file a statement of economic interest, which we will make sure he does before we take up on the floor. But Pierre located no derogatory information in doing the background. And he is Yeah, we'll make sure before he does receive a hearing on the floor that he will file his statement of economic interest, which he has not done. So Senator Horn.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just say, I've known Mr. James for a couple of decades in his capacity as a project officer at Atmos Energy, and I can speak very highly of his professionalism and his ability to get the job done. And I move we do advise and consent.
All right, you've heard the motion. We do advise the consent. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion to rise and report. All in favor, aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it.